Welcome to the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody cares.
Hi, I'm Eli, and this is my brother and co-host Joshua, and this is Podcast.
Hey guys, hope you're having a beautiful day, and I want to kick things off actually with something kind of serious. And as you know, now we don't have the podcast on the weekends, but over the weekend there was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. I was gonna say Miami, but that's a horrible, it's a travesty.
Yeah.
It really is. And, even I lean somewhat conservative on homosexuality. But just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean you go and shoot it up. And it's awful, and it's really, I feel horrible for those families.
Yeah.
And horrible for the officers that had to deal with it, and horrible for just all those people involved. And so from us at This Is Podcast, our hearts go out to you. We're praying for you, all of you, and all your families. So
it's been a while since we had to talk about something like that.
Yeah, it has.
Not as long as we'd like it to be, though.
No, unfortunately,
we didn't, need to.
We didn't have to. We don't have to talk about things like this, and it's insane. And
it's an unfortunate side of the society we live in right now.
It's just out of control. So there's that. Like we said, we're praying for all of you. So on a happier note, today we are talking about music. And we were talking about, you've been practicing the song Sound of Silence.
Yes. On my mandolin.
On the mandolin.
It's not very good.
I've been hearing you practice. It's gotten me thinking that you've said it before, and I know I've said it before.
Music isn't the same the way it used to be.
Well, I was just thinking about Simon Garfunkel specifically. As a super unique band, super unique group. And there just aren't a lot of those super unique groups anymore.
That's a sweet car.
That is a sweet car. There just aren't those super unique groups anymore.
It's not just about being unique. It's about the fact that they're actually musically inclined. They're musical geniuses. We had talked about that a long time ago on an episode. They're actually musical geniuses, and a lot of them back then were. And a lot of them actually knew what they were doing. A lot of them could play a buttload of instruments. A lot of them, This is where I tend to break on that, and that is that I don't think that necessarily the people that are making music today aren't. I don't think they can. And the reason I say that is because we live in such a connected society, right? That like Justin Bieber was found on YouTube. That was how he was discovered. We live in an American Idol, The Voice, America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, YouTube, Facebook society, where there's, if you are not making music quickly and getting it out there as fast as possible and keeping your name out there, right? Yeah.
Somebody is going to step up and take your place.
Yep.
Right?
I think
Simon & Garfunkel never had that kind of competition.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, I think that the word you would use for it, and I still use for it, is fast food music. How it's just like they're throwing crap out, not taking the time to make it actually something good anymore,
Right. Well, and it's not. I don't think it's that they can't. I don't think it's not that they're musical geniuses or that they don't know what they're doing, or that they're intentionally making fast food music. I don't think they have the time. They have to keep their name out there because somebody is waiting in the wings to take their place. I read an article somewhere, and what was written I thought was something that I hadn't thought about but it was they're absolutely right. And I can't remember what the article was. I'll just be honest. But they had said something like, there'll never be another Beatles. There'll never be another Rolling Stones. There'll never be another AC/DC. People whose careers span multiple decades, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years. Some of them, starting in the 60s and are still performing today.
Yeah.
There'll never be that kind of band again because there's always something new out there. Like I said, the bands that we're listing, back from 60s, 70s, 80s, right up into even into the 90s, they didn't have that kind of competition where somebody on YouTube could post a cover song, become famous, go viral and become famous, and take their spotlight.
Yeah.
They just didn't have that kind of competition.
Well, the thing was that back then your competition was people trying to go to the studios and say, hey, will you record a record with me? I think you can make money off of it. And a lot of them would get turned away because the guy would be like, yeah, you're not the kind of music people want anymore. No, I don't think you'll be that good. I don't think your record will sell. But then the one that does sell, they start making more of it. They start making copies and it gets out there. And then eventually the band starts getting known because they get enough money back from it that they can actually perform.
Right.
Nowadays, it's just like, waiting. Justin Bieber is sitting on the sidelines waiting for another person on YouTube to be found.
Right.
There's a
Exactly,
lot of people who could, there's a lot of really incredible musicians on YouTube, online, everywhere, not even online, that are waiting to step up.
And they really are incredible musicians. Yeah, that's one of the things that is nice about the interconnectivity is that, I've seen tons of covers. I'm like, damn, like this guy or this girl, I mean, damn. There's a lot of that talent out there that, and it's cool that we get to see that talent. It's very, very, very cool. So, we are on the subject of music. What are some of your favorite things you listen to on a regular basis?
Well, we talked about Simon Garfunkel, probably one of my favorite bands of all time. And that's coming from somebody who's only 20 years old and grew up in the age of fast food music, watched fast food music really become a thing. As I grew up, it grew up into what it is today. But I really like Simon Garfunkel, but I also like Jason Mraz. Who's now he's not like one of my favorites, but I like Jason Mraz, and he's a modern musician who is making his way quite well.
I like some Jason Mraz. Jason Mraz to me was like, I think I told you this just a couple days ago. I think we had this discussion. To me, Jason Mraz is kind of like Dave Matthews. For a very short period of time, I was intensely
in love with it.
Yeah, I was listening to his music a lot. I was like, oh, Jason Mraz. And very quickly went sour. I was like, yeah.
Never mind.
I'm kind of the same with Dave Matthews Band. I like Dave Matthews Band. At one point, I loved Dave Matthews Band. Then I was like, yeah.
Probably not so much anymore.
Excuse me. I like Dave Matthews Band. But, it's just not my favorite band.
Yeah. I like Dave Matthews. I didn't like his acting so much. I mean, some of his stuff, he's okay, but really most of it, you tried, but stick with the music, it's okay. It's okay to do just one thing.
So it's okay.
That's a tough question. I mean, there's so much good music out there.
There really
is.
That's
the thing.
Well, I mean, you've seen my Pandora list. I have easily on Pandora 30 or 40 odd radio stations.
Yeah.
And they touch on different things. I love 90s music. I grew up in the 90s. So naturally, and I think I've said this before. I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I really think the 90s were one of the last eras of great music. One of the last decades of truly great music.
That I will not deny. I mean, that's where Bon Jovi came out of.
No, he's out of the 80s.
I thought he was out of the 90s. I mean, you have to understand, I was born... I know you
were born in 95.
I was born in 95, so really...
You grew up really more in the thousands.
Yeah.
Well...
So trying to remember where these people even came from...
Yeah, you really grew up more in the thousands because by the age of consciousness, you were in the thousands. Like, when you were, 5 years later, it would be 2000.
So, that's where Nickelback came from.
Yeah, this is where Nickelback came from.
And Nickelback's earlier stuff I like. But I don't like their later stuff at all.
I listen to a lot of punk. I'm a punker at heart. I love punk music. I listen to classical.
Honestly, I'm a classic rock guy. No, I listen to
classic. I love classic rock.
I like Aerosmith.
I love classic rock. I love classical. I love vintage music. So, you know,
20s,
been listening to a lot.
30s, 40s.
Well, yeah, I've recently been listening to a lot of like Otis Redding, The Temptations, stuff from that era.
Yeah.
It just depends on my mood, and it's funny when you meet people and they're like, "Oh, what kind of music you like?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like everything."
I like
like, "Oh,
everything."
everybody says that," and it's true. Everybody's like, "Oh, I like everything," and they
don't.
only listen to
One thing.
rock, and you're like, "Okay, so you don't like everything. You just like this one genre." That's not that there's anything wrong with that. Just call it what it is.
Yeah.
When I say I love everything, I pretty much love everything. I listen to it all. So probably the genres I listen to least is country and rap.
Yeah.
I listen to both.
That's the same for me.
I listen to both, and enjoy music from both. I just don't listen to it as much as I do other things.
For rap, I like the stuff that Linkin Park raps on, because not all of Linkin Park stuff is rap-like, but I like their stuff. I like Toby Mac for if you like Christian rap, Christian rock and stuff. Toby Mac does some rap stuff. I like him.
Toby Mac to me is like the Green Day of Christian rock, Christian music. And what I mean by that is that Green Day's been around for a long time, and they're constantly evolving their sound.
Yeah.
They're constantly evolving their sound. They're doing new things. So even if you don't like Green Day, the band, even if you don't like most of their music, there's at least one Green Day song that you know and like, and you sing along to.
Same thing as with the Script.
The Script is
very
kind
much like that. There's a lot of songs that I listen. I like Hall of Fame. I like Break Even. But the more I listen to the Script, I go through their albums. I realize that every single song is different. And I'll be listening to the radio, and I'll be like, I like this song. It's a great song. And I'm like, yeah, by the Script. I'm like, what? Like that sounds nothing like what I'm used to.
Right.
Because none of their stuff is directly the same as the next.
Right. When I feel like, and that's why I was saying, Toby Mac, I feel is kind of the same way. He's constantly evolving his sounds. He doesn't do as much rap as he used to.
Yeah.
And he's just constantly evolving his sound. He's constantly doing new things. And if you listen to a lot of Christian rock, Christian rap, you may not like all of Toby Mac's stuff, but there's at least a song or two that you do very much enjoy. And there's a few bands like that, The Script and Green Day. There are a few bands like that they're just constantly evolving their sound. They're constantly evolving what they make. And then you have bands that are on the other end of the spectrum. You have like The Offspring.
Yeah.
And The Offspring, to me, I love The Offspring individually. I like them one song at a time because I think they're very much. I think all their songs sound the same. So.
Well, it's kind of what happened to Nickelback. Nickelback sounds like that pretty much now. Even back then, a little bit, they sometimes sounded, pretty much the same. So, well, I think we are out of time.
We are out of time.
So, until next time, I'm Eli.
I'm Joshua.
And this is Podcast.
Hey guys, Joshua here. Did you like today's episode? Let us know by hitting the little thumbs up button just below. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe. Leave us a comment. We want to talk about the things you guys want to talk about, so let us know what you think about today's episode. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends. Also, check us out on Facebook at This Is Podcast. In the meantime, on guard.